At this point, I don't care about that man, honestly. He does whatever he wants. Our job is not to babysit somebody.
I didn't think he wanted to do what everybody else was doing. Just told him he should leave then. Every single moment, I'm going to give Ben a chance to join the team.
I don't really care. I have nothing to say. One thing I'll say is that, since he's been back, nothing has really changed.
Trust the process, a mantra that began under Philadelphia GM Sam Hinkie in 2013. Has the process been processed, and what's to be made of it? It's closing fast on a decade of Philadelphia, along with NBA fans in general trusting those words in hopes at some point they wouldn't have to use them any longer. Well, maybe now they don't, but not for the reasons they expected. What that was is the team by now would be in championship contending position with pillars in place to carry the organization into the foreseeable future. Believe it or not, that partially happened. The Sixers did become the number 1 seed in the East in last year's playoffs. They were in championship contention, or so it seemed before the playoffs began, and finally fans could sigh in relief that the process yielded results. But we saw how that eventually played out with the 5th-seeded Atlanta Hawks, who no one expected to beat them, eliminate Philly in 7 games to go on to the Western Conference Finals. But that was just the start of it. We all also saw their pillars completely cave in, with Embiid understandably going down or limping through injury, and Ben Simmons losing all his superpowers on the floor and even more mentally. So much so that he refused to shoot the ball even for an uncontested 100% success graded layup to tie the game late in a Game 7 to take them to the conference finals. But it gets deeper. Games before that, Ben Simmons began to get and hear questions not only about his game, but his long-term stay on the team and whether or not he was even good enough to win a championship at point guard. Fair questions for an all-star player that was having the playoff Simmons was up to that point. A guy that made 3 field goals in the 7 fourth quarters for the series and basically unplayable down the stretch due to his shooting woes from all 3 levels. But what Ben didn't expect was the distrust and unsettlement coming from people in his organization and his own locker room, so here we are today. Ben Simmons has requested a trade with multiple years still on his contract, and he's forcing his way out. He's missed all training camp, practices with a phone in his pocket now, and has been reportedly kicked out of the last practice, with Joel Embiid having this to say.
At this point, I don't care about that man, honestly. He does whatever he wants. Our job is not to babysit somebody.
The process is going to need all the trust it can get right now, because it's hard to see what's going on and believe that this is just another step in said process. One that for sure won't have their pillar, that is their former number 1 pick Ben Simmons. Here's what went wrong and why the process has been processed. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Like mentioned, the process started under Sam Hinkie, who took over as GM for the Sixers in 2013, becoming the 3rd GM since the team was newly bought in 2011. He encouraged fans to allow the team time to build after the Iverson era and trust that 10 years from now they would see fruits of their plan. It didn't begin well. His first deal was to trade 2021 championship winning point guard Drew Holiday, basically for Nerlens Noel, a certified bust that no longer plays for the team. That followed with drafting Michael Carter-Williams, who became a bust as well, even though he was promising early and just fell off a cliff. The team started tanking for better draft picks and got lucky in 2014, taking Joel Embiid number 3 overall. Embiid became a viable superstar in the league, although missed his first 2 years injured. More luck came in 2016 when they took Ben Simmons number 1 overall, and he too became a star. He's missed his first season due to injury as well. But when they both were finally on the floor together, the Sixers and the process took off, with Philly never being ranked outside the top 3 in the conference from there on after, outside the bubble season 2019-2020. Fast forward to this season, why are the Sixers looking to seriously regress right at their peak? Stunt number 1, Ben Simmons.
Ben only took 4 shots, and he passed up a dunk late.
Yeah, I don't know. He's under contract to be part of the team, and so that's not going to change.
Doc, you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
Many pieces are usually involved when a fall happens, especially of this magnitude, and in this case, Ben Simmons is at the forefront of that on the verge fall off. Unfortunately for the Sixers, no matter what they want to feel about him and can do contractually, as the player, he holds all the cards physically. That would only be a problem for them if he's not happy. Safe to say, Ben's pissed. But who should he be pissed at? Look, Ben Simmons and the Ben Simmons representative fans, to answer that question up front right now, Ben Simmons has no one else to blame for what's happening but himself. One of the main reasons I don't like what guys like he and Anthony Davis along with James Harden are doing with this diva, I want out now or else attitude is you're making it much more difficult for the players coming behind you when you take this route in a disagreement. Of course, I'm speaking about the former number 1 pick, 3-time All-Star, All-NBA selection, 2-time defensive team player, and Rookie of the Year no longer wanting to be a part of his team. These feelings have shown themselves more and more over the years in what I'd like to call a situation that was inevitable. One you could see coming with the personalities the Sixers put together to lead them. I don't think either Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons are great leaders, even natural leaders you can expect to handle this situation and make it work. Sticking to Ben for now, Simmons to me is the typical meaning of the word prima donna. Not only in his soft look and actions, but how you see him respond when he's against the pressure. Finally, everyone got tired of seeing you work on jumpers all off season, only to come back and still the crowd erupts when you make a jumper like you're Shaq or Dwight Howard. Ben Simmons, as long as you won't shoot from distance in an era like this, it won't matter what team you go to, they won't have championship aspirations with you as their lead guard. He's mad at Doc Rivers because of the things he says about him to the media, I get that. Mad at Joel Embiid because Embiid passive-aggressively places blame on him like they're in the sandbox. I get that. But Ben, you're shooting 14% from 3 for your career in a 3-point shooting era. You're right-handed but can't finish going that way consistently, and now you're scared to shoot layups and requesting trades? Good luck on that. But you, sir, are the main reason things aren't working out. Stunt number 2, Joel Embiid. That brings me to Embiid, the guy that seems to have always been the class clown and most immature prankster as a youth, who if it wasn't for size, you'd never figure him a leader anywhere. He's a great player, but I'm sorry, he may have shown to be one of the worst leaders in the game today for how he carried this thing he even deemed himself, the process, down to the very last day. With Ben Simmons finally at least back in the building, Embiid opens his mouth and further pushes him away and makes a bigger distraction for the team, instead of pulling him to the side and maybe building with Simmons in an off-season, just you and him working on your game together and figuring it out. Not that that's the answer, but if you believed in Ben the entire time, you would have tried something. But that's the thing, I never felt these two liked each other very much at all. Whether personality-wise or the fact their games don't fit naturally together, with Simmons having to make the most adjustment to cater to Embiid, constantly setting up shop in the post when Ben's only way to score is getting to the rim. I believe Embiid too had an issue with his point guard not allowing him enough space because his man not respecting his shooting, so free to double Joel Embiid at will. Whatever it was, Embiid is and has been handling this situation the wrong way, and he's sadly mistaken if he thinks without Ben or a player of equal caliber on the team, he's going to win anytime soon.
Is there any part of you that wants to try to talk some sense into him and kind of convince him to kind of get his act together?
Like I said, I'm not here to babysit. I thought the turning point was just, we had an open shot and, we missed. We made one free throw and we missed the other.
Stunt number 3, Doc Rivers.
Doc, you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
I won't even blame the organization for this, because when you hire a guy with the overrated reputation of Doc Rivers, you've been brainwashed into trusting his word just like all the other teams that believed in him as a coach. Not only did Doc not handle this situation correctly, he single-handedly cost this team at least the next 2 seasons being disappointed in the playoffs, all because he loves media attention but never knew what to say about his star point guard. 1 minute he doesn't want to take him out the game late in the 4th and condemning anyone that thought, hey, maybe you should take the worst shooter in the gym out the game in a close 4th quarter as good strategy. But adjustment and strategy has never been a strong point for the coach that blew 3-1 leads in the playoffs, the only to ever do so. Last year's playoffs wasn't a blown 3-1 lead, but to lose to an Atlanta team with one star who stands 5'10", if that, might as well be added to the disappointment Doc Rivers is as coach. I still can't understand the appeal of Rivers. Outside, he's good at saying what you want to hear the exact way you want to hear them to make some believe. Besides my personal shots at Rivers, I just don't think he handled the process right in his tenure, even though still short, and you could argue he destroyed what the process built in his short time there. Let Ben tell it, he's the main problem. To say you just don't know if you could win a championship with Ben as your point guard was ill-advised and stunted the growth of this team. All in all, there's still a chance the process turns favorable. Ben Simmons is gone. Even if he wanted to, he can't come back and play with Embiid after what he said the other day, so let that one go, and soon. Get what you can for him, but he needs to go before he at least tanks the morale of this team this season. Find a shooting point guard that loves to pass and has high IQ, and the ship can continue on. Without one on the market right now, I don't see the process ending well without major moves, whether at coach or restarting completely. Either way, the clock is ticking on this 10-year process. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.